La nuit du chasseur.
Hey guys, Vospader here. Today I'm going to be doing a commentary guide for Dungeoneering, which is the new skill released by Ja-Gex for RuneScape. It's free to play and members, and I'm going to be doing a guide on levels 1 to 50. I won't be doing a guide on 1 to 99 just yet, because I don't have 99 in the skill, and I don't feel like I should be doing that if I don't know how to get it to 99 exactly. However, if you're new to the game, new to the skill rather, and you want to learn how to get some quick levels fast, this guide should be pretty helpful to you. So let's go ahead and get started. So first off, you're going to want to know how to get there and how to start the skill. Dungeoneering isn't like other skills at all. It's not trained throughout all of RuneScape. It's trained in one place. It's called Daemonheim, and there's several ways to get there. The first three ways to get there are members only. However, the fourth way is free to play, and it's not any lengthier than the other three ways. The first way to get there is to use a Ring of Dueling and just teleport to Al-Kharid, and then you're going to run west and run towards the bank, and the ship to go to Daemonheim is right behind the bank. The second way is to use an Amulet of Glory and teleport to the Al-Kharid Palace, and then just run to the west a little bit, and you'll be right there. And then the third way for members is to use an enchanted broomstick, which is from the 2009 Halloween event, and you can use that to teleport to the Shanty Pass area and then run up a little bit and you will be by the boat. If you're free to play, the quickest way to get there is to just teleport home or to teleport to Lumbridge and then run east, go across the bridge and go through the gate and then just run south, and you will run into the bank and where the Fremennik boat is. So when you get to the bank, you're going to see a Fremennik warrior. He's holding up a banner. You're going to go past him, and then you'll see a Fremennik warrior stand next to a boat. Just right click him and click sail, and you'll be on your way to Daemonheim. So once you get to Daemonheim, you're going to notice that the place is huge. I think Ja-Gex said it's about 60 times the size of Falador, so it's a pretty huge place. And you'll get there, and you're just basically going to follow the path on the ground until you get to some actual buildings and see some yellow dots. So you just follow the path that I'm taking here, keep going up and up, and you're eventually going to run into a rewards trader and then the skill master. You can't do much with them yet because you haven't started the skill, but after you've gained a few levels, you'll be able to use your tokens that you've gained and buy some pretty cool items and get some good rewards. However, I won't be going over that in this video. I'll let you go ahead and figure that out for yourself. So after you run past them, you're going to go ahead and go north, and on your right side will be a Dungeoneering tutor. You're going to want to right click and talk to him, and then he's going to take you through the Dungeoneering tutorial and everything you need to know about Dungeoneering, and he will give you a Ring of Kinship, which is going to be your best friend while you're training Dungeoneering. After you have that, if you look to your left side of the path here, there is a Fremennik banker, and Dungeoneering requires that you have no items except your Ring of Kinship when you go into a dungeon, so you're going to always need to bank your items with the banker before you start a dungeon. However, that's not really too much of a hassle, because after you've gained your Ring of Kinship, it is the fastest way to get to Daemonheim. All you have to do is right click it and teleport to Daemonheim, and it will teleport you directly here, and then you can just take whatever armor you have and bank it with the banker. So doing your first dungeon. Starting your first dungeon is fairly simple. All you have to do is click on your Ring of Kinship, and it's going to open up a party interface. And what you're going to do is click the big green button that says Form Party, and it's going to put your name up there and say that you are the party leader. Doing your first dungeon, I highly recommend that you do a solo dungeon, and do it by yourself to get a little feel for what it is. On this screen, which takes up your quest tab, you have the option to invite players, you have the option to change your floors, and then on the bottom you will have a current progress and previous progress, which is your prestige meter, which we'll talk about later. To start your first dungeon, you're just going to go to either the right or the left side of the dungeon entrance and click it, and it'll bring up a panel which will have you select a floor. Obviously, if you're level 1, you can only do the first floor. You'll click that, and then it'll bring up the complexity screen, which you will have to select complexity. At level 1, again, you'll only be allowed to do complexity 1. Complexity 1 requires only combat, and there is a smuggler inside of every dungeon. However, at complexity 1, he cannot trade you anything and has nothing to trade with you. The higher complexity you go, the more skills are involved in the dungeon, and the more items that the smuggler can trade to you. I won't go in depth with that, but you'll be able to figure it out, and it makes a lot of sense after you do it. I highly recommend only doing complexity 6 after you've unlocked the ability to do dungeons at that level, because every other complexity gives you a penalty for not doing the highest complexity. So after you select your complexity and select your floor, you're going to be able to select what size of a dungeon you'd like to do. I believe at level 1 you can only do small. You'll go in and you'll be given full armor and food on the tables, and you're going to want to pick up all the food on the tables and equip the armor that suits your fighting style best, and you'll be ready to start the dungeon. Dungeons are, the best way I can say it is that a dungeon is like World of Warcraft, and you go exploring through rooms and solving puzzles and completing dungeons and getting keys and unlocking doors. It's pretty straightforward, and if you click your map at any time, which is the Daemonheim map, it takes the place of the world map. It'll bring up where you are in relation to the dungeon and all the rooms you haven't unlocked. So after you get inside the dungeon and start completing rooms, it'll start to make a lot more sense to you, and you'll really get the hang of it pretty quick. It doesn't take that long to get the hang of it. Also, when you join a dungeon, you'll notice that your Ring of Kinship, you are now able to customize it, and using tokens, you can add bonuses to your Ring of Kinship, to melee, range, magic, and to skills to help you further in the dungeon. Now, your first dungeon is going to take, depending on your combat level, 10 to 15 minutes to complete. And after you complete it, you will bring up a screen in which it'll show your XP gained and everything that you did during that dungeon to get more or less XP. After you complete your first dungeon, when you're in Dungeoneering, you will automatically be given enough XP to go to level 2. And then from then on, you'll be able to access complexity 2 and then complexity 3 and all the way up to complexity 6. And after you've gotten complexity 6 for the first time and received your bonus for completing complexity 6, you will be allowed to do complexity 6 on every single floor from that point on, which I highly recommend doing. As far as the rest of Dungeoneering, it's extremely in-depth skill. However, now I'm going to go into the best ways to train Dungeoneering. But I highly recommend watching my other video if you want to know more in detail about things like tiers and prestige and the free-to-play limitations and things like that. So there's a couple different ways to train Dungeoneering. One of the most popular ways is to use teams in medium and large sized dungeons. If you're a lower level Dungeoneer, 1 to 20, I would recommend soloing, as it's probably the best XP you can get. Soloing on complexity 6 will almost always get you the best XP. And using a melee weapon is preferred right now, as range and mage are a little weak at the moment. The other strategy is to use teams, and the benefit of this is that if you are in a team of 2, medium dungeons are a lot easier, and if you're in a team of 3, you can do small, medium, and large dungeons, and large dungeons give quite a bit of XP. And another benefit of being with a team is that if there's some doors that you may need a certain level and a skill to complete, and if you don't have that skill, one of your friends most likely will have that skill, because one unique thing about Dungeoneering is that the skill is based around the player. And the dungeon you do and the monsters you fight are going to be based off of your combat level and your skill level. so there won't be anything that you would completely be shocked by. Probably the fastest XP is to train solo from floors 1 to 15, and then from 15 and on you would want to use a team and do medium to large size dungeons. What I would recommend. It's the fastest XP for me. I got to 50 in just a few days using this method, and it's a lot of fun, and I think you really enjoy it. Yes, it is a mini game put into a skill, but it's very in depth, and it's pretty good. So I hope this guide helped you. I know this was just a basic guide and just to get you started, but if you click the link on the description, I will have a guide that's more in depth, and it will help you get going and gain XP even faster. So thanks for watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.